Absolutely, and I have to admit I'm a little bit worried because in I would say in the last 3-4 years, I've not really been worried about this fixture. But Manchester United are now a new Manchester United. Ten Hag has got them playing with determination, discipline, organisation, passion. So yeah, we needed a win last night to go into this game with a little bit of not just form but a bit of confidence.
John, Jurgen there says he was talking about momentum. Now, if Liverpool were to defeat United, that's exactly what they'll have for the rest of the season.
Yes, but before the I'm hoping for the rest of the season, because before the Real Madrid game, having won 2 games and then went 2-0 up against Real Madrid, you would say that that's momentum, but we see what happened there. I don't think we're at the stage yet whereby we can say if we win 1 or 2 games, we are now going to go on the run as you've seen in the last 3 or 4 years. Still getting used to a new team, a new way of playing. We haven't got the same players in midfield in terms of the energy. So, yes, even if we beat Manchester United, I would like to think that it will give us a bit of momentum, but we still have to work hard to get that 4th spot, because it seems that Man City and Arsenal are going to obviously be in the top 2. Man United look as if they're going to, be 3rd. But if we can beat them, we'll put a bit of pressure on them. But listen, it was great to win last night, and hopefully we can get a good result on Sunday.
John, interesting what you said there. I mean, Liverpool last season, absolutely fantastic, nearly the season of all time. But they've had 1 or 2 problems which have been well documented this season. Difficult to put the finger on it. Obviously Van Dijk getting back to full fitness. Midfield hasn't really been the same. Up front, Salah's been very good, but he's not probably the standard he was last year. Nunes, bits and pieces from him. But you mentioned the midfield, and I've looked at the midfield, and you mentioned the word energy, John, and I think that's the key. One of the key things that has been missing from Liverpool this season compared to seasons before.
Well, what has happened in the past for the previous 3 or 4 years, when you look at the template and the type of midfield players we had, when you talk about either Ronaldo, Henderson, Milner, Fabinho, they protect the back 4, as well as the 3 players with Mane, Salah, and Firmino. Those 6 stop the back 4 being attacked. They win the ball so quickly. Now, all of a sudden, the front 3 have changed. The midfield 3 have changed. The type of players have changed with Thiago, Carvalho, Harvey Elliott. So, in fact, we're probably better on the ball. But when we lose the ball, and you two will know, what I used to say is that when one closes, all close. And in the past, you weren't able to get past the front 3, or they work back, or the midfield 3. Whereas now, all it takes is one player not to be closing down, and they'll get into your back 4. And that's what's been happening. So we're just getting used to a new way of playing with new players, because we had the same players for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Good experience, 28, 29-year-old players. Now we've got young players in the team, young players up front getting used to it. So it's, we're going through teething problems, but we're still there.
John, do they talk as much as we did in our day? Do people talk and scream at each other?
Well, I mean, that's not been a feature of Premier League football for many years. It's always been about the managers and, the players, they go and perform. But what we did have was experience, and it had to change. We had players between 28 and 31 who, we could have probably held on to them for another year or so, but it's going to have to change. And now if you look at Henderson getting into his 30s, Milner, Mane's not there, Ronaldo's not there. So we've got young players who the future looks bright, but with youth comes inexperience and inconsistency, and that's all we're going through at this moment in time.
Is it getting harder, John? I mean, last year, for the last couple of years, for example, it's been Liverpool and City, and I've got to say, the standard and the talent that they've brought out and the competition that they've brought out in each other has been absolutely remarkable. But I'm thinking of clearly looking at Arsenal. I mean, Chelsea have got to start improving somewhere. Spurs are still as inconsistent as ever, but you're looking at teams like Fulham, Brighton, Brentford. Is it getting tougher?
Absolutely. You look at Newcastle, you make it difficult for you. The Premier League has always been a league whereby other teams can beat everybody else. What Liverpool and Man City did in a 3-4 year period is blew everyone out of the water by losing 1 or 2 games at the most all season. Whereas now teams have invested, teams have improved. So you now see Man City, losing games and dropping points. And Pep Guardiola himself said that we expect more teams to drop points. So the other teams are getting more consistent, which would have made it harder for the top 2, which has been Liverpool and Man City.
Now, John, let me take you back. It's a few years ago now. And I'm sure you must have played, or you'd remember it.
Well, it must have been a long time ago if I was playing, mate.
Well, I think
you're taking me a long way back.
I remember Big Simsy, and I think it was at Bolton. We're talking about this wee guy in the back pocket. I think Watford beat Sunderland 8-0 or something. That's
right. Wesley was playing. Remember, in fact, I think a young McCoist was. I was a young John Barnes. I think a few months older than me.
Yeah, young McCoist was in Big Simsy's back pocket, I'm told.
I was just.
I don't know whether it's Ian Bolton, but back then you're allowed to kick beep out of people.
Exactly.
So, I don't think they could have got away with it these days, because Watford was a very unforgiving team for a young boy coming down from Scotland to Sunderland. So,
Barnes, I was shell-shocked, mate. I remember, I promise you, I should have put us 2-0 up, and then the next minute I looked up at the scoreboard, it was 5-0, man.
Look, you did not want to play against Watford. I mean, you talk about Wimbledon, who came on a couple of years later, but I think we started that.
Yeah.
And the referees kind of helped us because we were very aggressive. You know, when you talk about 4-4-2, we played 2-4-4. Everybody just pushed forward, and the centre backs just used to just kick bleep out of everybody else. And you know, we're so fit. So no, I didn't like playing against Watford, and I was playing for them.
Sherwood, Kenny Jackett,
Luther,
Callahan, Luther, Jenkins,
Les Taylor.
Les Taylor. Absolutely.
Your Ipswich team wasn't too bad then either.
Well, John, I remember we were fortunate, and I got the winner with 9 minutes to go when you brought about 6,000 Watford fans to Portman Road League Cup. And we get the shock of our life. They were brilliant.
Yeah.
But we just...
Yeah, but don't forget, that Ipswich team you had were very good as well. I mean, you got Nick Mills, you got, they were Kevin Beattie, they were tough as well. Yeah. So they were very, very uncompromising as well. So as much as, you're a good team, you could also mix it.
Yeah. John, enjoy the weekend, mate. Thank you for joining us. Brilliant.
Thanks, guys.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Alan Brazil. Thursday and Friday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.